could give you way better advice and be of way more use for free. So if you look at that, that should probably make you realize too that even if AI was to come over here and take over a lot, it wouldn't put a lot of people out of jobs because some people just want to be helped by actual human beings. They don't really care about AI. Some people are really skeptical of AI.
Yeah, but the thought about it is, how many people would work in healthcare to be supportive if they don't need to?
That is true.
You know? And that is kind of...
I think that's more moral.
Yeah, and I think people would have it more, maybe more internally, where they would take care of their own family members. But if you don't get a payment for it, are you gonna take care of somebody else's family if you're not like connected to them in a way?
That's a good point too.
So I do think that there's a lot of like societal implications that we aren't ready for yet. That we just, because, you know, in the past, technology has changed the way we behave. You know, it's maybe even like a weird thought to quantify, but as humans, we haven't been able to go faster than 150 kilometers an hour for the past maybe like 150 years or something. It was only up till like 150 years ago where we kind of like surpassed that speed threshold, you know, the threshold. So to kind of think about how we were able to then kind of travel up across land and stuff, it really did change the way you kind of go about things, you know. Like if you don't need a horse and carriage to go from Amsterdam to the south of Spain in 3 weeks or something, if you can do it within a day or two, then it's a whole different kind of operating field where you can conduct business in and travel and communicate with people from different regions too. And I think that with the internet and AR and AI and a bunch of things that are coming is going to exponentially grow beyond the point where there were people that are still alive that recognize that remember a time where there weren't cell phones and they have trouble keeping up with their emails and stuff. But now we're 3D printing organs in space, and you know, the technology is to a point where the greater like majority of people don't recognize its implications at all. But like really, like it maybe there's like 0.5%, if that, like there. And I'm talking about people that are like our age that have the latest cell phone technology or whatever. They feel like they're up to date with technology and they don't have the slightest clue. They really don't. And it's scary to think about, because within my imagination, I've also like when it comes to like my younger years, I was really obsessed with mechanical engineering, and I really wanted to know everything about different ways that people use metallic components in different arrangements to fulfill different purposes. And one of the machines that we really like developed to a T were guns. And I was able to 3D design like my own gun designs and shit when I was 12. And that was 12, 13, 14, to the point actually my dad was a little bit like scared about it. But I never really like fully chased it because it wasn't my aspiration. I was just trying to learn on how the hell did somebody in 1919 without a computer made a mechanism which could fire a bullet at a crazy pace, but have a mechanism that automatically loads the next bullet in the chamber for it to automatically reload again, you know? I was fascinated about the process behind it because I was just thinking, you need an electrical motor to set the motion in range, but then I figured out like they actually use the recoil of the explosion of the bullet to operate that system, a whole bunch of different things, you know? So I learned a lot from that whole period and that whole area. But I also noticed that every single time that new technology gets developed, it's weaponizable. And you can, because the only thing that war really is, or fighting a war or winning a war, is having an advantage. As long as you can create an advantage, you can win a fight. And technology allows you to always create an advantage over somebody that doesn't have it. And it's really scary to kind of contemplate on what a government with infinite amount of technological research and development budget would be able to do with the technology, especially if the greater audience isn't aware of what is possible. Because then you won't be able to separate fiction from fact no more. And you can make technology become your God, because every time we don't know how to explain something, what do we call it? Religion.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're right.
And I don't know. I have a lot of like scary contemplating thoughts about it, because we're also working on advancing technology even further. But the real responsibility is really going to be in education, because if people aren't aware of what's possible, then you can't expect them to even use the shit that we're making, you know? Long talk. I do think it kind of summarized who we are, what we're doing, what our interests are, and kind of the direction that we're trying to go into. That is also kind of why I wanted to talk about like our backgrounds and kind of how we feel about different things outside of the stuff that we're working on, because this is going to be more all-encompassing than just having like a speciality. We're not just 3D designers or game developers. We have a imagination of where we see our future going, and we trying to form a company around reaching that goal. That is basically like where I'm trying to go with this. And through these videos, we hope to kind of reach an audience and also allow people to learn from the mistakes we made, see our progression, feel also a part of it, because, you know, as innovators, you kind of need also input from people to kind of learn what the problems are that they're dealing with, to know what solutions you need to solve, you know, what problems you need to solve. So I think that is kind of like the major gist of it. I do feel like I'm forgetting one thing though. Anything to add?
No. I don't have anything else to say.
In education, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Fuck it, we'll get there. Don't worry. What do you feel like doing with this video that we just recorded?
Well, first I'll have to look back at it and see what we can use and what we can't use. I think it's a pretty long video, and besides, definitely the biggest problem I would say would be audio, because we don't have actual microphones that we're using.
Yeah.
We're just using the phones right now, and I don't know how far the sound they'll pick up.
Yeah, no, that will be fun. I think it might not be like the greatest quality, but
yeah, that's exactly the problem, because people, you know, when listening to stuff like this, they always want to hear everything as clear as possible.
Yeah, okay. And that is also, we still need to look also into like how we're even gonna publish this, if we're gonna put it on like Patreon or YouTube or whatever. But also like, please give us feedback. Like if you also like have the thought process of everything that we just kind of described, like feel free to also tell us what you would like to see from us, you know. And what kind of engages an audience of this sort, because we're just gonna trial and error this thing. We're just gonna be open and communicative about the things that we're dealing with, and figuring out if we can find the people that are kind of have a common interest in a way, you know. No, let's wrap it up. Your name is?
Go.
Ik ben oh, in Dutch on. My name is Shaquille Veldboom. And yeah, this is Veldboom Studios. A place where we imagine the future and bring it closer to reality. Tagline, I guess. Deuces.